The following video is one in a series on spiritual resilience training, a non-religious view of personal values and their dynamics with others. The contents reflect a variety of principles and practices of systems theory and relational counseling for team building and family resilience. Although the series is intended to support Army Corps values, each video also encourages the viewer to reflect on their current prominent values in specific situations and to consider what values may be more appropriate to means and results that are honorable and helpful with others. Chaplain Dillard initiates creating and posting these videos. Their contents and YouTube's linked videos do not necessarily reflect specific beliefs, practices, requirements, or endorsements of the Department of Defense, its subordinate organizations, or other groups with which Chaplain Dillard is affiliated.
Welcome back. We're continuing the series on layered emotions. Today we're going to look at what wrong could look like, not necessarily the worst way or the only way it can go wrong, but a way. And I'll provide a specific scenario to kind of guide us. If you haven't seen the previous video on the anatomy of layered emotions, please watch that because it's foundational to your understanding of what we're about to do and we'll do next week in what right can look like. So let's get started. We'll review just a little bit. Remember, without self-awareness and empathy for the other person, we risk running on autopilot. No course corrections and what I call C3 IRA, the values of care, commitment, control, integrity, recognition, and or acceptance. Those are the big six from a long study of relationships, mostly marriage relationships, but really applies to human relationships in general, that are heart-level concerns of expectations in any long-term relationship. And so if we're on autopilot, we're really not looking at the heart level concern. We're doing whatever we've done before, whatever we're comfortable with, whatever seems to have gone well, but doesn't necessarily get to the heart of the matter. All right, let's move forward and consider a specific scenario. Let's say that historically, I have effectively used emotions for my protection. Remember in the last video, we talked about the fact that not only do we experience emotions, but it's very possible to express emotion or feign emotion to get a second order effect from somebody else. And in this particular case, that I've done that for self-expression, hypothetically speaking, for the case of this scenario. And alternating expressions of feeling glad or sad or the appearance of it have elicited these positive second order effects in other people. Let's say, too, that I do this unconsciously for my peace. There's that third order effect that I'm looking for underneath. And usually I do this to avoid the anxiety of more time with a challenger. That's very possibly because in my experience growing up in early adulthood and early childhood, there were a lot of negative experiences with challengers. And so regardless of who you are, that's the hair trigger for me. That's what I'm trying to avoid. And I may try to avoid that by putting on a happy face or putting on a sad face in the hopes that it will elicit people caring for me and protecting me so that I can have a sense of peace, even though I never really have a sense of peace. In my mind, that challenger could criticize me, which makes me begin to question myself or criticize myself and raises questions about my true level of responsibility, and then I become more anxious. So consciously or subconsciously, I know there's a ripple effect, historically speaking, in my experience, for me spending more time with the challenger. So the shorter that time is, the better off I feel. So I've got this unconscious second, third order effect going on. Deep down, I'm really trying to accomplish more care, either by others or by myself. If somebody else won't care for me, then I'll have to care for myself, is my mindset in this hypothetical scenario. In this case, my bottom line emotion is probably fear for not receiving acceptance. There's that layered emotion. On the top, wearing on my sleeve, emotions on our sleeve, so to speak, I might be putting on a happy face or putting on a sad face, but underneath, I'm afraid because of one of those core values, that C3 IRA, the last one being acceptance, which is kind of the mother of the other five, the mothers of the others. If I'm doing that even unconsciously, then the glad and the sad that you see on top is not really what needs to be dealt with. It's my fear of rejection. So let's look at how this could go. Let's say I wake up anxious, but I don't know why, and I don't talk to anybody about it. This is very common. A lot of people that I have talked to in counseling over the years have a constant anxiety. Some of them are very aware of it. Some of them try to project that problem onto somebody else. You're making me mad, or you're making me feel depressed, and they don't take ownership of their own anxiety. It may be true that the person with them may have some bad behavior, but people can be ugly toward us and we don't feel anxious about it. We have to own our anxiety if that is something that exists within us. And if I don't talk about it, it just kind of stays and ruminates and gets bigger and bigger. And let's say I also try to numb the anxiety by going to immediate exercise, foods, might be sweets, hot foods, spicy foods, upbeat music, and more busyness. Again, I'm not trying to deal with what's underneath. I'm just trying to make the feelings go away, dealing with symptoms instead of the root problem. When I'm greeted at work or wherever we are in our volunteer work or at home or whatever, instead of seeing if others will really accept me, I feign being glad. I put on a face, I'm great, how are you doing? Hoping that might have some positive returns for me. Again, trying to elicit that second order effect. Then later, after a mild correction from one of my coworkers, instead of talking to them, I phone a friend to tell them that I'm sad. Sounds like something from the old TV show, right? You want to phone a friend? And I'm hoping for that second order effect again, that somebody might have pity on me and kind of tell me it's going to be okay, you're a good guy. Instead of dealing with the correction, which may or may not be deserved, may or may not be true, but instead of having a conversation with the person that I feel attention with, I go to somebody that is going to care for me. Again, dealing with symptoms, not the real problem. And then the duties begin to pile up throughout the day, but I continue to smile with everyone. During my lunch break, I get on social media and I post positive thoughts. And I receive several likes, but no comments with real substance, and I begin to feel worse. Again, this is a common thread, pardon the double entendre thread, social media, that when we deal with symptoms, we don't really get satisfied because it's not dealing with what's underneath. Sure, we experience the feelings and we want those feelings to change, but the feelings are a manifestation of our perceptions, and our perceptions are a manifestation or an outworking of what we value as good and how we're responding to that. And if I believe that I need to protect myself, that's good. I'm going to keep everybody at arm's distance, and I'll only let people in a certain amount, which means I never really develop deeper relationships. I never really experience genuine trust and respect and forgiveness and commitment. It's all superficial. And how can we be satisfied with the superficial? For the rest of the day, I drop my happy demeanor. Now I'm alternating, going back to sad, hoping that someone will notice. But everybody goes about their busyness, and I finish the day feeling even more anxious. This is common too. We try our methods to get those feelings to change, but we don't deal with what's deeper, which is our beliefs or our perceptions, and even what's deeper than that, what it is that we are valuing, in which case, in this particular case, I'm valuing acceptance, and I'm feeling fear about it, that lower level, more basic level of emotion in this particular scenario. And at night, I'm torn. Should I empathize with a sad TV show, or should I, quote-unquote, shoot up with a comedy? I'm back to alternating between glad and sad. Again, just dealing with the superficial, because if you remember from what I said earlier, this is really subconscious to me. Now think about that. If this is subconscious to me, the problem, I can't consciously deal with or move toward a solution. So we need help. We need to be in interdependent relationships with people who know us, that respect us, that we know they value us and we trust them, and to get some help. And it might just be from a friend or family member. It might be from someone who can give more professional type of help. But that's not a sign of weakness. That's a sign of wisdom. It doesn't always have to go to that, but if it does, then there are people who are willing to help in that way, such as myself. Well, that's what wrong could look like. Tune in next week, and we're going to look at what right could look like. And I hope to see you then.
At the release date of this video, I am stationed with Research Development and Engineering Command, RDECOM, at Aberdeen Proving Ground, Maryland. Because the majority of our personnel are in this area, I spend most of my time here. I do, however, travel to our distant units based on command priorities and budget. I place these videos on YouTube for broad visibility to Army personnel and their families, but I hope the videos will be helpful to others too. If you are assigned to RDECOM and want to request specific topics by video, training on site or by VTC, or confidential counseling on site or by secure webcam, you can contact me at jeffrey.d.dillard.mil@mail.mil.